This Halloween, why don't you put down the big 80s franchise horror films, the slashers of men in white masks, and try something a little bit off the beaten path. Here are my suggestions for a truly adventurous Halloween night. Are you looking for the perfect gothic horror film to spend your Halloween night? If so, let me suggest that you visit the third chapter of Hammer Films' Karnstein trilogy, Twins of Evil. Now, Twins of Evil is my favorite of the trilogy. It's actually my favorite Hammer film, period, and that's not an easy contest to win. But this one does hands down and has for a long, long time. I have a long history with this movie of seeing it very cut on television and then having my mind blown when I eventually saw it on VHS uncut. The film stars Madeline and Mary Collinson in dual roles as the title characters, the twins, although only one of them is evil, the other is not. The marketing campaign made a big deal of that, which one is the virgin and which one is the vampire. It also stars Peter Cushing in a role so tailor-made for him that I cannot imagine anyone else even showing up to audition for this role. He plays a puritanical witch hunter who commands a virtual army of followers who call themselves the Brotherhood and who, based on rumor and speculation, will target women and burn them at the stake. They are quick to make this decision, and it is absolutely brutal. The opening of this film recalls Mario Bava's Black Sunday, and if you know me, you know that's already putting me in the right mood. Puritan values are really in the crosshairs in this film every bit as much as the Satanism. As evil and reprehensible as Count Karnstein is, Peter Cushing's Gustav Wheel is every bit as horrible. So putting these two characters on this collision course is just a great horror ride. Along the way, there's plenty of blood and nudity and gorgeous women and satanic sacrifices, more than you'd ever expect in a film from this time period. And in 1971, we were only a couple years removed from things like Night of the Living Dead. This film goes so much further that you would think it would be a decade later. It's a beautiful film, well told. The story is that Maria and Frida are two twins who've recently become orphans, and they go to live with their uncle, which is Peter Cushing's Gustav. And they find themselves in a horrible situation because they've grown up in pretty much a liberal household in Geneva, and the countryside of Germany is a quite different place. It's very restrictive. And one of the twins decides that this is certainly not the life for her. She hears stories about the count who lives in the castle on the hill and his decadence, and she's drawn to it. This, of course, sets up the main confrontation between the vampiric count and the innocent twin. I know that your first impulse is probably to look for something comforting that you watched a bunch of times in your childhood. Well, this is that for me, but it probably isn't for you. You probably grew up with the Halloween or Friday the 13th films, and I understand the impulse to run back to those because, hey, I do it too. But I'll be honest, I'm getting tired of going back to the same titles, and returning to this movie this year, when everyone else is so quick to march in lockstep, was absolutely exhilarating. I think you should spend your Halloween with the Karnstein trilogy, and with this film in particular. I think you'll find yourself happily surprised at this madcap, insane, way ahead of its time, gruesome, sexy Hammer horror film.